Alright viewers, welcome back to the WSO tutorial in the Phantom. Today I wanted to cover the brand new combat tree which we have been given in DCS with the Phantom in the update as of 22nd of October 2025, and also to go over the aspect switch because I don't think I explained it well in my original video. So first, the combat tree. So how this works is it is a system built into the Phantom. I believe it's the APX 80, I think it is. I'll have to check that. It doesn't matter what it's called, but that's what it does. And what it does is when I press the hand control challenge button here, you'll see we get two returns. We get these two lines and this single line here where the contact is. Now, the two lines, they're the Boeing 747, about 40 miles off our nose there, that's friendly. However, this one here, the single line, let's do it again. There we go. That is a hostile giving an IFF return. Now, why is that? It's because when we get this green light here, you see the green light, that means that the combat tree has spoofed the IFF of a Soviet aircraft, or a Soviet-made aircraft, I believe using the SPO-2 radar warning receiver. And that system has about 15 different modes or settings. The combat tree fires off all 15, and if it gets a response, it'll light up green and give a 1 bar, or I guess 1 line response on the radar page. Do it again, and you see there is a contact there, we'll lock him up. Yep, good luck. Okay, now just to briefly go over the aspect switch. Sorry, I thought the aspect switch. This is the aspect switch. No. Yeah, that was the aspect switch. Yep, no, okay, yeah, there we go. Okay, lock him back up, let's find him again. Anyway, whatever, not important, that's what that is what it's supposed to do. So then, to show the best application for this, obviously it's easier at spotting targets, but it can even spot targets outside the range of the radar. To prove this, let's set the radar to 200 miles. Now, at this range, when you set the radar to above 50 miles, you have to use a method of locking called spotlighting, which I will get back on how to do that. I am not too familiar with it. However, what you can do to make finding contacts easier in this mode, or I guess with the radar in general, but especially this far, is if I press the challenge button again, you see we got another return at about 60 miles there, right there, you see? And I can increase the gain, so I'll just do that now. I'm gonna go do a 1 bar scan to try. Yeah, 1 bar scan track manual. Okay, I can't lock it because obviously it's too far away and it's in ground clutter and whatnot. But the point is, it shows we can find targets even if we can't lock them with the radar. This system was obviously developed during the Vietnam War to help Phantom WSOs find targets. A lot easier than having to just look at the radar. They can fire off this IFF spoofing system and get a return with that to know roughly where the target is, so they can then aim the radar to try and find it. Using this in conjunction with a GCI or AWACS is a very powerful tool and should not be underestimated. This makes the Phantom a much more powerful adversary. Now, to use it, to enable it, sorry, I will quickly cut the video and go back to the mission editor to show you. Alright, so you join me in the mission editor, looking at the mission file that I've just been showing you in the mission. So let's click on the Phantom here. This is the Phantom I was just flying. There's all the stuff I had on there. So this is the same Phantom I was just in. So let's go to this tab here with the three dots, the additional properties tab. And you can see here, combat tree spoofable. Now, what this will do is it will set what aircraft can have their IFF spoofed by the combat tree. If you set to historical, like I have here, it will only spoof aircraft which had the SPO2 IFF system, so that's like your MiG-15, the MiG-17 when that comes out. I think the MiG-19, MiG-21, your like Tu-95s, Tu-142 probably. You know, you're like old, like 60s, maybe early 70s Soviet aircraft. Also, the MiG-23 should be spoofable. The MiG-23. If I set it to all, this will basically function like how in the JF-17 as an example. That thing uses a different digital IFF. It uses called Mode 6. Now, Mode 6 should only provide positive returns for other aircraft that have Mode 6. However, for the purposes of DCS, it can also get positive IFF returns on Mode 4 as well, which is what NATO uses mainly. So think of the all setting as like more of like a gamified, simpler version, which can work against, you know, MiG-29s, F-16s, F-15s, K-17s, F-35s when they come out. It can spoof their IFF too. So just to go over it briefly, none will disable the combat tree entirely. Historical will only allow aircraft with the SPO2 IFF system to be spoofed, and all will allow any aircraft on the opposite team to your aircraft to have their IFF spoofed. Personally, honestly, I'd say the best setting to use is historical, because what you can do with that is if you're fighting third and fourth gen fighters in like a mixed environment, so like an 80s server maybe, like Flashpoint or Contention. What you can do is set it to have it in the historical mode. Obviously, you can't change it. The mission editor changes it. But if it's in historical mode, you'll know anything that gives you an IFF return is like a third gen fighter, which is obviously something you can probably beat. If you don't get a combat tree signature, that means you're probably fighting a fourth gen fighter, which is not ideal for the Phantom. So anyway, that'll be it for today's video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I hope to see you in the next video. Shot one, signing off.